Hello everyone. So in our last video I was talking about the RKE1 installation. That's an easy way to um, bootstrap one of your Kubernetes cluster, the enterprise one also, production ready cluster also. So this is a free community edition of RKE which we are using. So RKE1 installation requires a bootstrap server, a virtual machine or box, and then with two other nodes, wherein first node can act like a master, another can act like a worker. You can launch your worker, your Kubernetes cluster. In a similar way, RKE2 comes with a different feature and different set. So if you all remember, in my last video, and if you are coming with the first, please check in my YouTube channel. You'll find out the video on RKE1 installation. So RKE1 installation is basically working uh, as a by the design with like Terraform, right? So wherein if I design and talk about the differences between them, then if you have, let's say, one master VM, yeah, and you have another, this is what my planning is, let's say for me. So you have one worker, right? Now in this case, if you are installing RKE1, right, you need RKE binary or RKE command available in another machine, which will be like your bootstrap machine. This is what I was speaking about, right? So bootstrap box. Now this box can be of anything. If you're using Windows, it can be Windows. In my case it was Mac, and if you're using Ubuntu Linux also, that's fine. So you need one bootstrap Linux box or any other box, and then these two machines. So what happens is when you are in RKE, the installation requires things like you need a cluster dot YAML file, which is nothing but every definition, right, which you what you want to deploy in Kubernetes, how many worker nodes you want, how many master you want, how many, what would be the network plugin, Weave, Canal, Calico, or which one, right? Matrix server also you want to install or not, ingress solution, everything you can define in cluster.yaml, and same like in Terraform we are doing in main.tf file. You can define everything, and when you define, there will be the cluster dot RK state file, right? This will be the outcome when you're, and after this cluster.yaml, everything defining here and then running RKE up command, everything will be configured. It means this cluster on using this master and worker would be configured in RKE, right? And then the other file is your kubeconfig. So I'm leaving it as this. So this was what I was speaking about in case of RKE1. So if you are doing with RKE1, this is how RKE1 acts. But if you are working with RKE2 and want to know that what exactly in RKE2 is, then in the same way, like we have two machines here, same way if I have two machines here, I don't need a third RKE box. What happens is there would be the RKE2 binary. So RKE2 binary I need to install here, and RKE2 works like a service, right? So RKE2 works like a service, RKE2 service. So that service you can control with systemctl commands also. So same like RKE2 binary, you need both in both the machines, and then it is like in kubeadm, you set up first your master, then you got a token out of it, and then you set up your worker node, then you join this worker node to this master node with the token which you received from the master. So this is the kind of installation, right? So I have again for this installation the two machines, VM1, VM2, master and worker. These are the IP addresses. Preparation, RKE1 you need prerequisites also. RKE1 has to be installed with a Docker. If I write down here Docker for all of your information, then you need a Docker CE edition installed here. But in RKE2, RKE2 itself is taking care of the container installation, right? Because you would be installing the binary with apt get command you would be adding the repositories etc. also. So as part of the installation, containerd as a CRI, container runtime interface, will automatically be installed. So you need not to set up anything as a prerequisites. You just need machine, fresh Ubuntu machines. In my case I'm using, you can use any other Linux flavors also, it supports. So that is the only requirement, and then you need to get into the master VM and execute everything. So if I say here, in official website of RKE2 you can find out a quick start guide which talks about the server node installation. This is what how the script installation and everything is going to run, and the worker node installation. This is same which I am going to follow, but to make it really simplified and friendly for someone who is going to start new, I have this page also which I will be keeping in my description box. You can find out from description, this video description. So what RKE2 is, that RKE2 is enterprise ready. It's a stable and really secure Kubernetes distribution. It's really secure. So that's why the RKE2 is one distribution which any enterprise can easily adopt, right? And there are the out of the box things coming in. So this RKE2 would have the etcd automatic backup scheduled with these scripts. You would have option to restore the etcd snapshots etc. With RKE1 the etcd was not around, right? So this is one enhancement they did, and obviously the method is totally different. So what is the prerequisites? I have written here that we only need 22.0 for Ubuntu box. For me I have already 2. So let's get started. We'll start with the master node setup. So I'm gonna run these commands, right? So curl, the first command, and this will be okay. Let me launch my terminal first. So I'm gonna make my login here. This is my first machine, the other machine here. Yeah, so this is the first machine where I'm going to run this command. So curl, and this is get rke2.io. so curl command will extract the script which is already available in this URL and will be running with the sudo and executing that script. Now you see that this script is basically downloading the 1.26 RKE2 tarball and verifying it and unpacking. This is what the installation is done, right? It's very easy and simple step. Another step that you need to enable your services in here. So I'm gonna enable the services so that when I'm rebooting my machine the services would come up automatically. The other thing is, if you have the same like in RKE1 I was speaking about the multiple API endpoints, if you have any, here also we have an option, right? I'm not gonna do this because I have the IP address which is exposed already with my machine also. So but if you have any other configurations, and those configurations you can find out, by the way, here are many options in the documentation. You can find out the air gap installation, any installation method, any HA, any container registry configuration, all of these configuration if you want to do, then you can simply create this RKE2 folder, etc rancher, and then you can write down things in config.yaml, obviously in the format which RKE2 can understand better, right? So you write down these configurations. I don't have any configurations specifically, so I'm not writing anything, right? But for you I will at least put one configuration, right? So if I try to run this command here, right? So direct one file and we go down. I'm writing this at least one configuration here, right? So it says can't open. Okay, I understand. So what happened is I don't have even this RKE2 here in rancher, and even we don't have rancher also, right? So I need to create first of all these things. So mkdir -p and etc. I can give this Okay, let me copy the path. So I basically need these directories to be created. It's not available, it's a fresh machine, so hang on, I need to use sudo here. There we go. So now I need again sudo, by the way. So sudo and this file, and if I go here, I want to do small modifications for kubeconfig file, and that's in this way, right? We done. Now you just need to start your services. When the services would be starting, services will start reading this config.yaml file. I'm just gonna run this one there. Meanwhile, this is going to start. With this start command, actually it is installing and configuring the service also. That's why I have written here. Now when this is starting, you can open another cell, and then you can if you want, you can keep reading your logs also, because if you see, this will now start configuring everything, right? So this is my client, and I can go down here and there, right? So if I run this way, so you see that how RKE2 is configuring the cluster. If you see some error, it's fine, you can simply ignore them. So it's pulling the images, you see it's pulling the images, keeping in barley brancher, RKE2 agent and everywhere, and then pod is doing a synchronization, 500 error and other errors, because API, unless the API is coming up online, rest of the component will keep showing the errors, so you can simply ignore them. See, it's waiting for the API server to become available. Now since the API server is available, it will start applying the configurations. So API is up, it's syncing the configurations now. Network plugins installing. Okay, running kube proxy. Any error which you see here, you can simply ignore them. That's fine. After some time, the configuration. Okay, so this says that it's started everything. So if I run ls, I'll not find out here anything. So now the question is, how will you run your kubectl commands? Okay, does it install the kubectl binary also? Yes, it does, but in a separate place. Okay, so here I have given something, so you can run these things. So first thing first is that you need to create one .q file in your home directory. Then you need to copy the RKE2 YAML. This is your kubeconfig file, right? So everything it keeps in etc rancher RKE2 that you can copy for your kubeconfig. Then you can change the ownership with the sudo. Okay, that's how. So I'm gonna run this way, these things. Yeah, so this is good, but still kubectl binary is not here, right? So that's where the kubectl I need to export, right? So this is in a different path, which I think I haven't mentioned here. I will mention it, it's fine. So this is, there's a separate path for kubectl. Let me take a note. Did I mention somewhere? No. No. Okay, looks like I haven't mentioned. Yeah, looks like I haven't mentioned. Okay, so I'll mention that in this configuration as well, right after this setup. So if you see, it says that a token that can be, and by the way, that path we can find out from here also. So if you go down, it says that this is how the installation works, right? That's for agent anyways, the server node installation. If we see, so here it says the RKE server and additional utilities like kubectl, CRI, CTL, CTR, everything you can find out here in this place. So if all these binaries are actually available, you don't need to install. You can install, however, or from the OS point of view also, but since these are already available, what I need to do is I can simply say export, yeah, path is equals to, and then I can give the path and I can simply paste this one, right? So if I run kubectl now, the command will work. Yeah, sorry, shouldn't be hyphen. Yeah, so the kubectl is now good. RKE2, you see this binary is coming from RKE2, so I can run kubectl get node just by seeing that how many nodes I have. So RKE2, you can see that it's a etcd, it's master, it's control plane, right? 3 minutes back. So if I run kubectl get pods for all the namespaces, you'll find out the pods here, right? Kube API, the controller, the network plugin, core DNS, even the ingress controller also has installed, and matrix server also you can see, right? This is it with RKE2 master node. Now it's time for the worker node installation. So if you see, it is saying that token has been created, but token is available here in this place, right? So what I can do is I can take down the token. So I can use sudo in server, and this is the token. So I can copy this token, and I can note it somewhere. This is my token in this case, and the next part which I'm going to do is same way I will be running or installing agent. The difference is that install RKE2 type we can pass as agent. I can pass as an environment variable, and I can use this directly also. So I can pass this with export command, or otherwise I can run simply straightforward, but I need to do sudo then. So I can run export this, right? And then I can run this command with sudo. Yes, let me break down here. If I run sudo, okay, so it's downloading, right? The agent things, all right? So RKE agent, I can probably get this, the service RKE2 agent now. So if I copy and go ahead here, I need sudo. Okay, so agent service enabled. Now when the agent service enabled, again this is same like you configure your master node, you can configure your worker node. So you need to run these commands obviously with sudo. So you're running with mkdir rancher RKE2, same like we did in server also. Then the config file, this is a file which you need to modify then, and in this file only we'll be keeping the server information. So in this file what we need to put here is the server address, the endpoint, your API endpoint, right? API endpoint, and the API endpoint IP in my case is 192.168.1.71, and the token which I have received from the server, I have noted it in my notepad. So if I go down here and check it out, just doing a copy, and then we'll be back here in our terminal. So that's token, right? And I can save it simply. The next process is when we are done, we can simply start. So this is same like it will start, service is fresh, we have just installed and enabled. So if we'll start it, it will start reading what is inside the config.yaml, and it will act accordingly, right? So I'm gonna copy this command, right, and will be, if I have sudo, no, let me use sudo then here. So with this, if we see, it will take some time, and it will try to connect to the API, and with the help of the token it will now you see it's now part of the cluster. So if we go ahead here again in this place, the node 1 master node, and if I run kubectl now and say get node, do I see the node? Yes, we see the nodes. The node status looks not ready because it's just started 16 seconds back. So if we keep checking, this will be coming as ready after some time, right? So if I run kubectl get pod here, you see that there would be some core DNS container is trying to run the network canal network daemon set also is going to run here, the controller. So when all of these things will come up and start running, you'll see that eventually the the node will come as ready. So we see that kernel is fine. So it's all about the network plugin. If I have the network plugin running in both the nodes as daemon said, then the node will come as ready. We see both the nodes are ready now. So if I run kubectl get pod on all namespaces, you see that nginx ingress control, that's one part, and core DNS and everything, right? So you can we can keep checking here, and gradually you'll see that these will also come one by one, and this is also one by one, and then we can, you see here the ingress controllers one by one. Now we have only the core DNS, right? We can wait for it and we are good, right? Everything is good. So the cluster is done. Now if I, let's say, how do we scale RKE2 cluster? If I got new node, same way, the token is stored at that place, same token you can use to add the another nodes, right? You will find out one RKE2 utility also as a binary. So this will have agent, you can manage your server, you can do etcd snapshots, you can manage, you can rotate your certificates also. It's very easy to rotate the certificates when after 1 year your APIs and other component certificate will expire. You can manage the bootstrap token also. You can generate new token if let's say this token got expired, right? And you can encrypt your secret and key rotation, etc. This is really helpful. This RKE2 command is really helpful. So this was it with how we can set up and deploy our RKE2 cluster. Thanks for now.